So here's what we're doing today. We're gonna continue working on the sales/landing page for React for data visualization, and the goal is to improve from, we were at 25. Let's make a duplicate of this and see the current state, and I want to get this at least into the yellow, if not into the green. Let's see what it says. That's strange. Killed? What? What is wrong with you, Restream chat? Okay, let me restart that app. Is this saying everything is fine? It should be fine, okay. Restream, work better. Okay, so we are at 34 speeds right now. I want to get to at least into the 80s, if not into the 90s. We're gonna see how it goes, and for now the goal is to keep going the same way we were before, which is delaying things, making things asynchronous and stuff like that. So let's see. Enormous network payloads, yes. Static assets with an efficient cache policy, minimize main thread work. A bunch of things we can still do. So let's go do them. Where was I? So responsive, let's do laptop with an HDP plus screen and scale it to 75%. That way, that makes it a little easier to see, although it makes it harder for you to read what's on the screen, I guess. So let's see. We're also moving things from being like, okay, I have a console log somewhere that I don't need. So let's see. Git grep console per console.log pages index. So index.js in pages, change it to React, find the console log. There we go. Don't need any of that stuff. So the idea is we're moving images to be loaded with the Gatsby special image thing instead of requested like this, and that's gonna help a bit, I think. And the other part is moving things into my React lazy load fade-in component so that they're only loaded once you go down the page. And one thing I said I was gonna do was use a context for all of our GraphQL data, because as far as I can tell, in Gatsby at least, we can only make queries at the top level of pages, but this is a very long page made out of many components. So I might be able to make it easier to use by putting, basically by putting things in context and then having that available everywhere. So I'm gonna do that, and we're also gonna try if we can use hooks for it, because hooks make life easy. Hey Einbisken, I am not sure if there's going to be any Kotlin live codes, because I'm mostly doing Kotlin at my day job / client work, so I don't think I'm allowed to live code that, but there will definitely be blog posts and stuff as soon as I get something actually running. I've been spending the last day and a half just trying to get Kotlin and our setup with serverless working on my machine so that I can actually do stuff. But first, let's see which React version I'm using here. 16.8.2, cool, that's great. So that means we have hooks. So how do we use context with hooks? ls source right. So I'm going to make a, let's just make a context file. So command N, and we're gonna say import React from React and export default React. How do I make a new context again? React use context, See, I'm always Googling for things because I always forget how they work. So use context, context, React, create context. React, create context. Great. So this is a very silly approach, but I think it's going to work. Context.js. Like that. And we're going to do this. So now import GraphQL context from /context, right? Is that a thing that exists? I think it is. So like that, and we're going to render all of this in GraphQL context.provider with damn it, I always forget how that works. Okay, let's see if they've Cedia, whatever. Number context, provider, value. Right. So value is going to be our data. And like that. Is that how I did it? Yeah, so it's inside the layout. We then have a provider that provides the context. And now what I can do, can't resolve /context. ls source pages, damn it. Move source pages context.js to just source. Hey Ridari, how's your day going? Oh, I can now hide messages. Oh shit, I think I just accidentally blocked someone. How do I unblock? Uh-oh. So I think I just blocked Ein Bisschen, but I don't know how to unblock him. Let's see, YouTube live dashboard. So Ein Bisschen is one of my most popular commenters. He's always on my streams and says amazing things, so I really don't want him to be blocked. And I don't know how to unblock him. Restream chat unblock user. And why is my computer so slow? Unblock. Oh great. So under filtering, okay, let's see. Filtering. Ah, there we go. Whew. Thank you, Thomas. So successfully unblocked Ein Bisschen, and I can go back to getting shit done. So we created the GraphQL context and we fed data in. So now here in section 1, we can go to section 1, and here instead of getting data from props, I'm going to say import GraphQL context from /context. I'm exhausted, tutored for 4 hours straight. What kind of tutoring do you do, Ridari? Now in our export here, so I need to do something about how the copy is defined so that it's going to be easier to use. I'm going to do a return and say const scatterplot image, and so scatterplot image and spaghetti image equals use context of GraphQL context, and that should in theory just work. Let's see if it actually does. Full stack for coding bootcamp students. That sounds actually like a lot of fun. What kind of full stack do you teach them? In the default component. Cannot read property scatterplot image of undefined. So maybe does context need to be context.js source. Let's define it with a default value. Why isn't this working? Okay, so default component. Oh, React and use context from React. Will that work? Reload. Woohoo! Okay, so that worked. That's great. Awesome. Okay, that's gonna work, which means I can now move on. No, not right now, little snitch. Express, so MVC with Express server plus handlebars. Why handlebars? So how long does the bootcamp take, Ridari? Like when they start with the absolute basics, how long before they're able to, like, I guess the final step is to have them build 6 months. Wow. Because I'm gonna be attempting to do something similar with what's it called, with my workshop at Reactathon in a couple weeks, except mine is going to be just 1 day. So I think I may have taken on quite a challenge with that. So Giphy, that thing. Okay, so now the next step is going to index.js. Yeah, 1 day. And the goal is that in that 1 day there will, so it's going to be a Gatsby, basically. Let me show you. Reactathon, and if we go to workshops, so it's going to be this. That's the pitch. The idea is that, well, Thomas, I used handlebars for a really, really long time, and you know, why would anyone use handlebars these days is my question. I understand that it was a great technology back when it was a great technology, but you know, so Ridari, this is what I'm trying to do. Oh, right. Yeah, so mine isn't really going to be MVC. It's going to be, here's how you build something that works, and we're gonna kind of just not talk about the basics and just get you to a point where you can get something working and deployed. Okay, so for some reason all of my avatars are named test, but I will try to what was I gonna say? Right, let's organize this a little bit. What did I do? Images, blah. Ooh, or should I make it so that a testimonial by default? Oh no, but because it's loading an image here, that's not gonna work. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, create a simple, which bike? Oh, that bike, that is my wallpaper is just a nice image. So I had an idea. Instead of trying to load all of these avatars with Gatsby image, perhaps it would help if I wrap testimonial itself in a lazy load component. So let's see how much that would help. And that will help me decide if it's a good approach. So I'm measuring how many requests it takes to load the page right now, just the basic page. We are at, it's going to be a lot of requests, but it's a lot better than what it was when we started. See, it's 183 requests. When I started making the improvements yesterday, it was at 300. So Ridari, as far as having an audience and a following, you know, like people say, you always start with not having any of that. So it's something that you have to build up. So import, where have I done that? Image.js. It's called fade in from React lazy load fade in. So testimonials, fade in from React lazy load fade in, and we're gonna say wrapper group HR fade in. Yeah, Udemy is not great. The problem with Udemy is that if you use it, I mean, it's a great marketplace of sorts, but they take control of your course and keep controlling pricing, and it's like you try to make a high value course, but they will just randomly start selling it for $9, which is crazy if you ask me. So how tall are our max width? What? I have no idea how this works. So one of the things here is also that I didn't build the basics of this page, so I kind of get confused sometimes about how it works. And let's see. All of this is 340 pixels tall. We're gonna let's remove the HR, and we're gonna say fade in height equals 340. Then we actually, no, let's do it this way. So blah fade in there, and this takes a render prop that has an onload method, and we put that onload here. So onload equals onload, and let's see if that works. Okay, so let's see it load. It is now at, still making a lot of requests. That is a shitload of requests. Like, what is it even doing? Why so much Facebook stuff? But we went down to 177 from 183, which I guess is an improvement. So if I scroll down, we should, okay, that shows up, yay, that shows up. Awesome. Cool. Definitely an improvement. Now let's make it centered and stuff, and maybe give it a little less okay, Candy Cane is asking if he or she, I'm not sure, is using Redux and would also like to have locally two checkboxes in a form share a context. How to send the local context up to the store? Is that map state to props? That would not actually be map state to props. I haven't tried the Revelberry flavor of yerba mate, but it sounds amazing. So you wouldn't use map state to props, you would use map dispatch to props, and you would have to dispatch an action from, so you would need to have something that dispatches an action to your Redux store, so to update the Redux store itself. You can't, I don't think there's a different way to do it, to be honest. Okay, so let's see, where was I? Now, why is this thing so big? And why isn't it middle centered? Okay, so this is an inline block. Okay, let's change these around like that. Okay, that worked. Now the next thing I need is changing the paddings a little bit. So here our wrapper max width 600. I don't want the border. and we say margin is, let's say, 2 rems. Move it down a little bit. Now the bottom is still too big. What's giving it the bottom padding? Let's see. So I'm kind of both going through making this faster at the same time as I am changing the styling. Okay, so the bottom padding is pretty small. So what's the rest of this space? What computer? Come on. Oh, so section 2 has a bunch of padding on top. Okay, I guess that's fine. We can have padding there. Yeah, I mean, like Ridari said, I honestly try to avoid state management libraries as much as I can, because I don't think they're that helpful. So let's do the logo next. Header, where is it? Header image source logo. We are instead going to use, what did I do in section 3, section 1? Section 1 it was. How do I load images now? So we have our widgets image. So we go back to the header, change it to JavaScript React, import image and lazy image, blah, like that. And we import use context from React, and here in the header we're going to say const logo equals use context not GraphQL client. Okay, maybe that's something I could have used, but let's see, import GraphQL context from /context, and then this guy can be GraphQL context, like that. Const logo returns the header, and it says image of logo, like that. Was it? Let's see, section 1, how did I do it here? Oh, it needs a child image sharp. It just seems terrible, but whatever. So header logo dot child image sharp, then we go into section, section, and then in index here we're going to add the logo, which is, so it says logo with a relative path, logo PNG. So logo PNG with a max width of 256 and a quality of 100. Let's see. Yay, that worked. Awesome. Cool, so we got that. Now what's the next culprit? That was slow. So I think my computer is getting kind of slow right now, but we're gonna see if we can keep going. That worked. Why use React and D3 for data visualization? All of that worked. Aha, here's the next one. Git grep is designed. So we go into section 4, and this needs to use the title component. So we're going to say import title from /styles, and we say this is going to return a React fragment, like that, and it's going to have a title up top, title blah, and the reason I'm doing this is because title it's designed to be wider. But what is unreachable code? What are you complaining about? And I also wish that Gatsby kinda kept my what's it called? I wish that it kept my scroll position, but I guess we make do with what we can. Let's see, is this now a title? No. Wow, it just like did not actually reload. Components header. Why? So that was a prettier error. It did it wrong. Link to cannot read property child image sharp of undefined. Okay, so index.js logo is there. Okay, so let's go back to the header and say data and console log data and see what's there. Come on, work. Bundle has an error. Logo is not defined. That's an old error. Ah, what did I do? Okay, I just quit VS Code. Let's open it again. Who's complaining at me? Okay, now this is gonna take forever. Here we go. No such file or directory. Source pages context. But why would it be trying to load source pages context? Let's reload this thing from scratch. No, not git grep. Yarn start. Okay, that's loading. Reload. Come on. I know you can do it. Okay, so there is no... What? How is there nothing in my context? Let's go back to the index page. You need to go away, React. And let's see. Console log data. Let's see what the actual data is. So data is scatterplot image, spaghetti image, and logo. But where is the header loaded? So header. Oh, is the header in a layout? Ah, yes. So the header is in layout, which means oh, can I do a static query? That might work. Maybe if I can do static queries, I don't have to. Let's try that. So I'm gonna, instead of taking stuff from context, I'm gonna try using a static query that might actually work even better. Okay, let's go into the header and we try that. So how does this work? We're layout, so static query, okay, so it's just gonna be what this thing returns. It returns a static query that does stuff and then renders a data with all of this stuff. So it renders logo with blah and then tab and let's see, layout, render data, header div, and closes that, closes the static query, and then closes this. React, JavaScript React, right? Okay, what am I still doing wrong? That's that one. Okay, so site titles query. Now if I go to my index.js, I can take this stuff and go back into the header and paste that here. We don't need a name for it. And let's see if it works. Okay, so instead of this stuff we're gonna have logo child image sharp, and it failed to compile. Use context is defined, static query is not defined. Okay, so layout.js, header.js, get that stuff. Oh hey, that worked. Awesome. Cool. So we don't need to put stuff into context because we can use these static query things. So I'm gonna do that. Now let's, okay, no more static no more context stuff, no more that. So the other thing, where did I learn how to do Gatsby image? Because there is a way to load it better than the fluid one. Source file system, this one. So we're going to say it's child image sharp, but instead of fluid, it's going to be fixed. And width, it's going to have a width of, what did we say the width was? 256 times 100. So 256, height is 100. Gatsby image sharp, fixed, no presentation width. Now let's see if that works. It does. Very nice. Okay, okay. Cool. So that is a great way to improve stuff. Just need to figure out how to, do we want to actually make it smaller? So image is height 50 pixels. So this is going to be 50. So calculator, 256 divided by 50, no, 50 divided by 256 times 1. Okay, so we do 19 times, no, height is 50. Okay, so this needs to be 128 times 50. Let's see if it resizes here. Nope, that didn't work. Pay the man, it's only 50 bucks. I like that. Oh, what I need to do is, let's see. Come on. So that's 256 times 100. And then so width, actually let's do 50, no, height 50 pixels. Let's see, height 50 pixels. Why isn't this doing anything? Okay, let's actually try 128 times 50 and compiling. Come on, reload. So what I'm trying to figure out now is how to use this stuff better so that I can have a nice... Oh, why is it... What if I remove all of this stuff? Okay. Okay. So we need to not have these margins here, and instead this needs to be on the let's see, how do we style this thing? So source picture image Gatsby image wrapper. So dot Gatsby image wrapper, like that. Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, that worked. Perfect. So Sir Demir, I live in San Francisco. So layout, we no longer need this static query for the title, which is great. Oh, come on. React.js. Where am I from? I am from... oh, we do still need that. No, we don't need that. I'm from Slovenia originally. Sweden, that... I haven't been to Sweden yet, but I've always wanted to visit. Is there a particular place I should go to experience Sweden for the first time? Okay, so I figured that out, which means the next part... Oh hey Ridari, that's awesome. That's just like I'm gonna be in Oakland in 2 weeks running the marathon. So I'm gonna move this stuff from this query here to section 1 is going... Oh right, we said no more context. So let's remove that stuff. Move it here. Remove it here. No more data. No more this. So I am taking all of this stuff, our GraphQL query, and I'm going into section 1, and let's see if I can figure out how to do this. So we're gonna do scatter plot image and spaghetti image, and this is going to be const section 1 equals all of that, and then here we're going to export default. Let's look at how we did it in the, not in the layout but in the header. We export default static query. So section 1 export default is a method that renders a static query where the query equals this stuff, and then render equals, let's see, header.js, render is blah, okay, so render gets data and renders section 1 with the data splatted in like that. We close the static query stuff. Now what is it complaining about? Oh, export. So it is export default static query, and then we have to import static query and GraphQL from Gatsby, and let's see if that works. My computer is being kind of slow, which is annoying. Right, no use context. Come on. Yay, that worked. Awesome. See ya, Sir Demir. Okay, so that is pretty cool. I figured out how to do these queries wherever, so we don't have to put stuff in context. I guess the next part would be, it would be really cool if I found a way to abstract this away so I don't have to build it every time, but whatever. We move on. So we have that one. That's all lazy loaded. I think this one, okay, this one's next. So this was in, where did we say? I think I was doing section 4, yes. So section 4, instead of pshot3 PNG, okay, this really doesn't need to be a component. We're just going to be const section 4 equals, it's going to take pshot3. So I'm just, for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna call it pshot3, even though I'm not, whatever, it's fine. So pshot3, but our export default is actually going to be a static query that has a query and a render that takes data and returns section 4 with the data splatted in like that, and blah. Oh, come on, why is this always setting itself to, come on, what are you complaining about? Right, query is not defined yet because it's not, so I'm gonna copy paste this stuff. Okay, query, paste that in like that, and we say that we want, what was it, pshot3 png, pshot3.png, this is going to be pshot3 like that, and we can take it out of here, the blur, and instead of this we're going to use okay, so we don't need that anymore. I'm going to import image, blah, like that. We don't need lazy image anymore, and then here we render image with a splatted pshot3 dot what was it, child image sharp, right? Section 1, child image sharp, yep, child image sharp. Let's see, component is defined but never used, don't care. Okay, we can remove that actually. End of file. Section 4.js. What is wrong? How did I define that down here? So GraphQL query, and then that ends, query ends, that ends, that ends. Okay, now it should work. Cool. So if I scroll down, that worked, that worked, that worked, that also worked, and I can't tell if this worked. Copy image address. How can I figure out if it worked? My mouse is acting up. Oh, I know how we can figure it out. You can see if it's in the wrapper. It is. Awesome. So that worked. Gatsby image wrapper, all of that works. Okay. Next one. So this needs to be updated. There's too many bolts here. Okay. Next up, all of these guys. And some of them look like they're the wrong image. So I'm gonna have to fix that as well. I'm also getting pretty hungry here. But let's see how much we have. Let's see if we've made any improvements at all. Empty cache. And while that's loading, I can start eating my cereal. Wow, that is way too soggy. Okay, we're down to 176 requests. CatD, yes, I have had to deal with cache invalidation many times. There's a couple of surprisingly easy tricks you can use, but it depends, kind of depends on your use case, how to do it. Okay, start with the building blocks. Let's see. One thing we can check is whether this test tree stuff is actually I want to check if loading the testimonials is actually lazy or they're being loaded in advance, because that would kind of defeat the purpose. Test tree. Okay, but now if I scroll all the way here, it shows up. Okay, so the laziness does work. Which means the next thing we can do is, okay, that worked. Now let's see these guys. Where is this defined? Get status. Okay. Remove source context. Get commit -a -m. Find better pattern to load images via GraphQL. Right then. So git grep building blocks, and that is in feature list. Show brother, hey Jorge, how are you? And where are you from? And what are you up to? Stuff like that. Okay, so let's see. We have, these are called block 181. They are, okay, so no wonder this is so huge. Again, cat-d, it depends on what kind of cache invalidation you're talking about. If you're talking about cache invalidation of assets, no, the backend question, the backend language doesn't really matter in that case. If you're talking about more specific caching in your app, then yes, it matters a lot. Also, one of the reasons my landing page was so slow is that we're loading this stuff. Okay. Let's see where are. Okay, I want to add to the to my existing thread. Here. Okay, that's the old one. Let's see. So my computer is being very slow right now, which is kind of unfortunate. But where was I doing this? Okay. No, not that one. My whole computer is suffering. Yeah, so cat-d caching my website is not the problem yet, because it's a landing page. It needs to load fast for people the first time they get to it, not the second time. So I need to optimize it for the first load first before I optimize it for second load. We've been loading, oh come on, several 2300 times. No, not that. Oh, come on. Okay, cool. I managed to tweet that, even though my CPU is slow. Now, when I move these blocks into the GraphQL approach, that should make it a lot faster. So we're going to export default, blah, static query equals tup, and then render equals data with we said auto import static query. So we need static query and GraphQL from Gatsby. Feature list, props, blah. And we render, what is this called? Feature list. So feature list with a splat of our data. Like that. Right? Oh, and we need to close that. So that should now work. Now here we're going to say this takes block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, block 5, and block 6. Like that. And then our query is going to be copied from here because they're going to be fixed. GraphQL fixed. Come on, GraphQL. Feature list. Blah. And they're going to be block 1, block until block 6. And their size is 150 pixels times what? React for dataviz.com. Nah. React for dataviz.com. So I just want to go see how big the images have to be. And also, how big is this one? Okay, so it's actually a little bigger. It's 150 times. Okay, it's okay. It's gonna be a little smaller now. Okay, so let's see. So this is an easy way to measure things. It is 222, 220. Let's just say 220 times 150, right? Or 222. So 224 times 150. And it is called block 1. Block 1. I wonder if there's a way for me to okay, I can do that. Okay, let's see if we can generate these. So we're gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 map, and I'm gonna see if that works. So we have a map of $i, and here it's also $i. And then this ends okay, so this ends that one, and then we have, wow, this is getting complicated. You know what? Let's change. Let's do this. So have all of that, and we say file of let's just say image. This is going to be a function like that, and we're going to say function image of index returns a thingy. So index, and we shall see if that works. So we have now all of this stuff, and here I'm gonna see if we actually get blocks. So console log of block 1, block 2 for now, and otherwise we return all of this stuff. Okay, now let's see what happens when I load this page. So RJ Bernaldo I have a Canon T6i DSLR connected with like it's a kit, what they call a kit lens that goes from, I think, what is it? So it goes from 28 or so it goes from 18 millimeters all the way to 135 millimeters. And I usually have it set to about 35-ish. And no, I'm not using what's it called? Why is this paused in debugger? Who told it? Told it to pause? I'm using Camera Live, and no, I'm just using Camera Live, and it streams straight into OBS. Okay, my Chrome tab decided to die, so I'm gonna open a new one, and let's see. And like one of the problems I always have when I'm live coding is this CPU usage from OBS, because it's burning all of my CPU, which means there isn't much left for everything else. Feature list, build failed. Why? Tagged template expression. String interpolations are not allowed in... Okay. So we can't use string interpolation, which means I have to go back to a normal GraphQL query and figure out how to iterate. Okay, so then how do I create named GraphQL fragments with parameters? Gatsby GraphQL fragment. Wow, so I can't even type normally anymore. Okay, GraphQL reference using fragments, and I'm gonna try to create a fragment that we can reuse multiple times, so I don't have to keep doing this stuff. Skip filter. Filter content type. Complete list of possible operators. Sort. Format. Excerpt, sort, filter, query variables. Groups, fragments. How do you avoid the... I don't think you ever really avoid the feeling of missing out on other opportunities, to be honest. Oh, okay, that's so, you know, I think that you should just keep doing your job as long as you enjoy it, and always keep an eye out for better opportunities. So if something better comes along, I think you'll know, and you can then make the switch. If not, no harm. Computer. Okay. So I'm gonna just copy paste this because I don't feel like figuring it out right now. And I'm going to then ask people on the internet if they can help me out how to make it better. Block 4, block 5, block 5, block 6, and block 6. Okay, so we got those things. Come on, computer. And then we import image from // widgets image, like that. And I think I'm gonna have to stop live coding because it's getting too frustrating for me to actually get work done. So block one dot, what did we say? It was child image sharp, like that. And we go here, block 2. So this is also kind of silly because all of this code could be made a lot better. As you can see, there's a lot of repetition and it's just generally not the bestest of codes. Block 5, block 6. Okay, this is getting too frustrating, but I just want to see if there's been any improvement. Okay, generating image thumbnails. Okay, come on, reload. Oh, this is still the wrong page, the one that actually crashed. Arrgh. Still making a shitload of connections, but what can I try? Oh, let's see if the thumbnails look better now. Okay, they do. That's great. The next one is going to be making all of these things lazy, and they have to be done lazily, not in a thing. And then I have to fix the layout for that and all of this stuff. So that's gonna be fun. And I'm gonna actually, let's try deploying this and then comparing it just so I can see how much of an improvement we've made. And then I'm actually gonna stop live coding because my computer is getting too slow for me to be productive, and I want to get this done today. So let's see. And I just realized I'm not actually showing the like the title page for this thing anywhere, which is kind of silly. Okay, so that's gonna take a while to compile and deploy. Right then, let's see what this does. Wow, I can't even click on things anymore. That's great. Now that's gonna recreate the analysis. That's annoying. But I guess it's okay because it's deploying still. Okay, I can't right click on things anymore. Oh, we actually managed to crash my calculator. That's quite an achievement. So this was at 34. So if I duplicate this tab, come on, And we're gonna try this page as soon as it actually finishes deploying. Come on, package JSON, finish building quickly. Okay, so that deployed. Let's see now what Pagespeed Analysis says. Have we made any improvements? That is the question. It is actually slower. Great. So we went from a score of 34 to a score of 30. I wonder why. Okay, yeah, that's all things that I'm still planning to do. Video formats for animate. Large GIFs are inefficient for delivering animated content. You consider using MPEG-4. All of these GIFs, yeah, that's something I should do. Properly size images. Okay. P-shot, okay, so that's all stuff that I was still planning to do. Okay, so I'm gonna go do that stuff and I will see you again next time I stream. Probably gonna be Friday evening. So thanks everyone for watching who's still there. I hope this was at least entertaining if not useful.